What happens at closing? A first-time homebuyer's guide. Your offer was accepted, your inspection is done, your loan is almost ready, and now someone tells you it's time to close. But what actually happens at closing? Do you just sign a bunch of papers, get the keys, and walk away? Today I'm going to walk you through what happens at a real estate closing, especially if you're a first-time homebuyer. 1. Your lender finishes the loan. Before closing, your lender is working to finalize your mortgage. They're reviewing your financial information, the property appraisal, title information, and other requirements. You want to make sure you respond quickly if your lender asks for additional documents. 2. You receive your closing disclosure. Before closing, you'll receive a closing disclosure, which explains important details about your mortgage and closing costs. You'll want to review things like loan amount, interest rate, monthly payment, closing costs, cash you'll need to bring to closing. If something does not look right, do not wait until you're sitting at the closing table to ask about it. Talk to your lender and your real estate agent professionals beforehand. 3. The title work is completed. The title company or closing attorney handles important parts of the closing process, including making sure the title can be transferred properly. They also coordinate documents and funds needed to complete the transaction. In Alabama, the exact closing process can vary depending on the transaction and the professionals involved. 4. You do your final walkthrough. Before closing, you may have an opportunity to do a final walkthrough of the property. This isn't another full home inspection. You're generally checking that the property is in the expected condition and that agreed upon repairs or other contract requirements have been completed. 5. You go to the closing. Now it's closing day. You'll meet with the appropriate closing professionals and sign the document necessary to complete the purchase. There may be a lot of paperwork. Do not feel embarrassed if you need someone to explain something. Ask questions before you sign. 6. You pay your closing funds. You'll need to provide the funds required to close according to your final closing documents. That could include your down payment and applicable closing costs minus credits or deposits already applied to the transaction. And here is an important safety tip. Be extremely careful with wire instructions. Real estate transactions can involve large amounts of money, so verify wiring instructions through a trusted, independently verified phone number before sending funds. 7. The seller signs their documents. The seller also has their own documents to sign. Once all required documents are signed and the transaction is ready to be completed, the closing professionals handle the next steps. 8. The deed is recorded. One of the important final steps is recording the deed with the appropriate public records office. The exact timing can vary, so do not assume that simply signing your paperwork means everything is immediately finished. 9. The transaction is funded and completed. Once the required conditions are satisfied and the transaction is funded and completed, ownership transfers according to the closing documents and applicable Alabama procedures. 10. You get the keys. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for, you get the keys to your new home. But remember, when you actually receive possession, and the keys can depend on the terms of your purchase agreement and the closing process. So make sure you know when possession is scheduled to transfer. And here are 3 things not to do before closing. Before I let you go, here are 3 things I want buyers to remember. Number 1, don't make major financial changes without talking to your lender. Number 2, don't ignore requests from your lender or closing professionals. Number 3, Don't wait until closing day to review your documents or ask questions. The more prepared you are, the smoother closing can be. All right, so that is the basic idea of what happens at closing. You go from having a signed purchase agreement to completing the financing, signing the required documents, transferring ownerships, and hopefully getting those keys. If you're a first-time home buyer in Alabama, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to continue breaking down the home buying process so you know what to expect before you ever sit at that closing table. I'm Sania, your Alabama real estate agent for Location Real Estate. I'll see you in the next video.